How you guys doing? Great, great. I think somebody's missing a shoe somewhere.
Since you brought it up, so did you throw Fred Warner's shoe? And
Listen, I didn't know whose shoe it was, first of all. Second of all, it was right in the middle of my play. I had to go. We were going no huddle. It was like right where we were going to pretty much snap it. And I was like, hey, anybody shoe? And I was like, oh, all right, whatever. So I threw it. And, so one, I didn't want to throw it four because we were going that direction, obviously, towards the end zone. So I threw it back. I don't know. Never seen a shoe on the field like that in the middle of a play when I'm trying to go no huddle. So, I still haven't seen the video. So I'm still waiting for somebody to find the video somewhere.
were you surprised that Shanahan kind of made such a big deal out of that and everything, or?
Well, I understood why he did. I mean, I wasn't thinking about it in the midst of doing it, but, I understood why.
The Russell, red zone, I mean, what's been the catalyst to that, or what's been you guys been successful?
The best thing about the red zone right now for us is that we're really executing. We're really playing great, sound football. We're running the ball well. We're throwing it well in there. We've got a lot of guys making a lot of catches and touchdown catches and stuff like that. It's a plethora of guys catching the football in the red zone. And our versatility down there has been excellent. I think the offensive line is what really makes it tick and work for us, giving us enough time to step up, slide, throw the ball where we need to, and get the ball out quick too sometimes, and just mixing it up. So I think it's been an excellent part of the season for us. I think that in terms of the red zone. We've been really, really, top notch, and that's been an exciting part for us.
You guys have mixed it up on offense pretty well the last few weeks with explosive plays.
Mm-hmm.
How do you balance when to take that shot down the field versus kind of anything else that's in the middle?
Yeah, I mean, we always want to be explosive. I think being explosive on offense is key. You want to be able to make plays, and explosive plays doesn't just mean down the field throws. It could mean, like Carolina Panthers throwing a stick route to Tyler Lockett and him catching it, make a guy miss and getting 26 yards or whatever he got. There's different guys making plays. There's obviously the downfield shots. We're running the ball really well, getting some explosive plays, and that's been exciting just to be able to have that versatility. And so I think that in terms of our explosive nature, it's a mentality. It's a mentality of once you catch the football, make something happen. Once you have the football in your hands, running the ball, get north and make plays. And I think that's been the nature of how we practice. I think the practice really allows that to happen. And then once again, I think the offensive line gives us enough time to make those throws down the field. I think also too, in terms of running the football, we're doing a great job of that. So we're physical at the point of attack.
Something, though, about the number of explosive plays we've seen in the last few weeks. Is there something about this time of year, like maybe where all the chemistry is there, that you would see that trend go up as we close out the year?
Well, that's a great point. I think you always want. I think you always want to be trending up. In the midst of the season, in terms of how you're playing in the red zone, third downs, explosive plays. I call them game-altering plays. You want to have those game-altering gap plays. And so those game-altering plays really make a difference in a game, and you got to know when those plays are, and also when you want to prevent those plays for the defense. When the defense is, they got great players too. So you got to have that that balance, and understand what that looks like, and trust what you see, trust with what you know, and then at the end of the day, players got to make plays, and so that's what we've been able to do.
You guys always talk about your emphasis on the fourth quarter, be it in a game or in the season, finishing strong.
Mm-hmm.
How do you keep it at that high level of keeping that emphasis strong all the time?
Well, I think in terms of the fourth quarter, in terms of games in particular, it's a mentality, it's a belief system. It's something that we've done for years now in terms of our execution and how we want to execute in the end of the game. And ultimately, you got to have no fear. You got to love being in the fourth quarter. You got to love having the ball in your hands when the game's on the line and everything else, and no matter who that is. And so I think that's always something that we thrive off of. I think second of all, in terms of just the fourth quarter seasons and talking about finish and everything else, everything that you work for all off season. All the OTAs, all the extra film, all the getting together in the off season, fighting through, being dinged up if you're offensive lineman, defensive lineman, if you're a receiver, whoever it may be, if it's quarterback, so all those things that you go through throughout a season, physically, emotionally, spiritually, all those things leads up to the end. And it's the time that people remember you, and I think that in terms of being a football team, we want to leave a great legacy in terms of where we want to go and how we want to do it. And I think that that's just by our approach, and also not making it too big. I think that when I say that, I mean you take one moment at a time, one game at a time, one practice at a time. You stay poised in the midst of it all, and that allows you to have a championship belief and a championship opportunity to do something great.
You kind of mentioned it on Jen's question here a second ago, those game-changing plays. You guys have specifically been really improving on third downs. What's the biggest difference?
Well, third downs, I think, once again, the offensive line is doing a great job for us. I think that we're just really meshing. Guys are really understanding our concepts of what we're trying to do and how we want to attack a defense, the film study. I think Coach Schottenheimer's done a tremendous job in breaking those down for us. Coach Canales, all the coaches as well, really explaining what we're trying to do and trying to be focused on that. So I think that goes down to the preparation. It's very simple in terms of how you prepare. And then third downs, red zone, those explosive plays, what that comes down to is making plays. That comes down to great players making phenomenal plays and having just the grit to make those plays when the game's on the line, guys hanging all over, you got to make the catch or whatever it may be. David Moore's fourth and 3 in Carolina, game's on the line, just having no fear for it and just going to attack the football. So those things show up quite often. I think about Tyler Lockett's running across the field against Green Bay on 3rd and 9 or whatever it was, making a huge play. So that's just attention to detail, but also making great plays when the time is called.
There's been so much turnover on the defensive side of the ball. What has been Bobby Wagner's impact to getting these young guys up to speed, and then on the field, what's been his impact that you've seen?
Well, the defense has been one of the most exciting things as well. The thing about our football team right now, we're playing such a great nucleus. Everybody's playing together. Everybody's working for each other. Practices just the way it should be in terms of how we're preparing. We've got a lot of great young guys on offense, defense, special teams. And then, I think that with what Coach Norton's doing too as well, him coming back, him really bringing that fire and passion for those guys as well, in terms of our approach throughout the season and everything else has been great. And, I think, going to your question specifically with Bobby, he's up for Defensive Player of the Year, in my opinion. I don't think anybody's made a bigger impact than he has, and so just his approach, his work ethic, he's always consistent. Teams fear him, in terms of how he plays, and he can make any play you want. So as these guys saw in that 98-yard touchdown or whatever, I still think it was 100 yards. I don't know, but just watching him make plays every week in and week out, he's been consistent his whole career, and he'll continue to do that. And how I know that is because of how he prepares, and he brings everybody else with him.
It's all about the ball, and that's Pete revisited that yesterday and said it's the first thing that it tells you guys when you get into camp. How much of that is in the back of your mind during a game, though? Like, you already know this, so when you're sizing up, let's say, an explosive play down the field, how much are you also balancing kind of that turnover mantra?
Yeah, I think that's a great question too. I think that in the sense of you really want to be in attack mode. It's like I love watching basketball, right? You can't have any fear of taking the shot. I think in baseball you can't be afraid to take the swing. When it's 3-2 count. You got to go for it. And you'll never hit a home run if you don't swing. I think that's part of it. I do think too, you want to be able to swing at the right pitches too as well. And I think there's this interesting balance. And as you play games, I've been fortunate to play over 100+ games in the NFL. I don't know, 50+ in college and everything else. And so just being able to know the balancing act of the games and situations and when to go for it and everything else. And I think that's been part of our success in terms of our whole entire offense is guys are doing a great job on the fundamentals of high and tight, transitioning, being aggressive to the football, making plays. And those receivers, they make me look good. I mean, those guys are making a lot of great plays, and it's fun to watch.
We've obviously seen a lot of progression with the offensive line throughout the season. What has Dwayne Brown's impact been on that, and how do you kind of see that play out?
Well, Dwayne's been, he's an all-pro player. He's just, he's fun to watch. He's tough as nails. He's got so much intelligence in the game. He's got so much grit and fight and just everything else. So, Dwayne's been a huge, one of the biggest gifts, in my opinion, for our football team. Since he came here, he's just a tremendous leader. He pushes everybody. He practices. He works hard. I mean, he's just as good as it gets. I don't know anybody who can play better at left tackle than he can. So, he's a tremendous athlete. And so, I think that he's been a joy just to be around and just see his ability to affect our football team in so many different ways.
Russ, looking at the Vikings, one of the best defensive teams in the NFL, and near the top of the league in both run stopping and stopping the pass. When you look at a defense that doesn't necessarily have a glaring flaw, what's kind of the key to establishing an offensive rhythm?
Yeah, that's a good question too. The Vikings, when you turn on the film, man, they're really good on defense. I mean, they got everybody that can play some football across the board. There's not one weak link, So and not in their scheme, not in their personnel, nothing. So I think that we just got to play great football. We've played some great defenses so far this year, and we've been prepared. We've done a great job against, some of the best defenses in the National Football League. We get to face one of the best defenses every day in practice. That helps prepare us. But they have, Coach Mike Zimmer. He calls it up great for them. They got a lot of different guys that can make a lot of plays. Harrison Smith, watching him on film, he's one of the most talented guys on the field every time he steps on the field. It's fun watching him and seeing just what he can do on the football field. The two linebackers, Barr and Kendricks, I mean, they're all over the field too as well. So, and then the defensive line, they got so many guys, rushing and getting to the quarterback and everything else. And so they have a really good, from the corners to everybody, there's not, like I said, there's not a weak link. And so what we're going to have to do is just be really sharp in terms of our preparation, be rock solid on third down, be rock solid in the red zone, and see where that leads us.
On that, like Jen just asked about interceptions, Pete yesterday used the phrase that you kind of bought in from the start to the idea of how important the ball is and not turning the ball over and things like that. Was that, do you remember have the conversation with Pete like that early on or anything about like, this is how we're going to play and this is how I want you to be as a quarterback and,
Yeah, I mean, I guess I remember that. I mean, that's part of the game. It's like your point guard. You don't want to, you don't want to have as limited turnovers as possible. I think in terms of playing quarterback, you want to be able to throw as many touchdowns as you can and have as little interceptions as you possibly can. So I think that's the obvious thing. But I do think that also too, it's how you practice that helps you understand that throughout the game and understand, and also in practice testing things to see what works, what doesn't. Okay, is this the right throw? Is this, so you practice and you get that work, and then also you add all the games that you get to play, you get to experience all that and the highs and lows of that. And there's been a lot of good highs, and so you understand that and what works, what guy can do what, and you understand your personnel and understand their personnel. When you watch film, that's part of the things you got to watch. Understand who can make plays and who's making them for them and everything else. So, but in terms of Pete and I we talk about it every week. We talk about it every day almost. So it is a major emphasis of the game. It's the most significant emphasis is. On offense, you want to score touchdowns, as many touchdowns as you can score, and you don't want to turn it over. So I think that's what we've been able to do this year at a very, very high level, and been able to do it for quite some time. So it's been exciting just to continue that, and even with new guys, young guys, everybody understands what the significance is. I think that when we're running the ball as well as we are, and also throwing it as well as we are, I think that mixture also helps too as well.
What do you think about the Action Green jersey?
I like it. I think we've won each time, right? I'm pretty sure. So I like the green jerseys. It works for me.
Did you see the run last night on Monday Night Football? And do you have any comparison? What your thoughts are like the way?
You talking about Henry? Yeah, that run was pretty crazy. That was a pretty insane run. Just watching him go 99 yards. Going 99 yards isn't easy. And him being able to, break tackles and get to the end zone was pretty cool. I remember watching the game. I wasn't here when Marshawn had his crazy run here. That was similar. Marshawn broke a lot of tackles back then. I'm not sure. I mean, he probably broke 8 to 10 tackles. Henry was throwing guys off left and right. So it was just pretty amazing watching him go 99 yards and just to have that strength and speed to get to the end zone. It's pretty cool.
Anything else? Thanks, Russ.
Thank you, guys. Yep, go Hawks.